Hello and welcome to another night shift. My name is Yazil, and today we want to read and save items into our database with the help of the plugin we made in the last two parts. So basically we want to see if we can achieve that if we go onto our item database and we click here on save item, that our database will be updated or even a new item will be created. And also we just want to add a read button for every item in the database will be updated to our Unity project. So let's get started, and for that we open the C# script. So let us think about it a second for what we need in our editor script. First of all, we need for sure our variables for connecting to our server. So I configured the server on 334. So I had to make a variable server IP, which is in this case the local IP here, and the port 3334. So just public static string and public static int. Then, of course, we need to add variables for our connect to the server. So of course, we need to define in our private variables the server tag. In this case, I choose the 7. It doesn't count if you have that for your game already in use. Just use one you want to have, because the item server is a standalone product, and it only should be on if you are configuring the item stuff, or at least if you have a user and password on that. So next is you have to define the subjects, get item data, get or send item data, and save item data. That's the stuff we used in our server already. Let me just quick get on these thing. It's just here, the stuff you defined in your plugin. And if we go into the install section, it's here 1, 2, and 3, and the tag 7. So back to our script. So you add these variables here, and then let's think about more what we need. We need, of course, connect to our database. Then we need to listen to packets which coming in, and of course we need to save something. That's the first step we want to achieve. So the variables, I close that, and the next part is we have already the on enable. So if we start this editor script, we read the database, you know that from the last parts, but the new part is this one. We going to see if we are connected. To do that, or to make that work, you have to add the using directive using Darkrift, and then we can check if we are connected. If we are not connected, we go and say work in backspace in background, set that to true, and set the connection string with the variables we defined up there. And then, just in case we didn't disconnect for good last time, and we are still connected to the on data message, we tell ourselves to get rid of these connection, and then we add ourselves again to that event handle. So that's easy stuff. It's just the basic connect to our to our data Darkrift. That's easy stuff and just the basic for connect from our client to the Darkroot server. So of course we need these function on data handler. So we just chop down a little bit. I have it down here. It's again basic stuff. It's the data handler, and we get from the event the byte, the data tag, the subject, and the data itself. And we're gonna check if the data is _db, and if that's the case, we're gonna check if that subject is get item data, and then we are using the Darkroot reader and so on and so on. We'll fill that on later. So that's just the function to receive stuff from the network. And here in our onData event, we call this function. So that's we can send stuff and we can receive stuff, and to make that really happen, we need the update function, and in the update function we have to check if we are connected. We have to see if we received something. So if we get something, we have to fill out the data event, and that we do with darkroot.receiver. And if we receive something, the event will be called this one on data. So next we have to do is we have to let me quick get the Unity again. We have to implement this save item button. So that is called in show item database, and we talk about this part. So it's just we have a new begin horizontal, and we have a label field which says just a text save load from MySQL, and we say it has a width of 150. And then we have a button. So we just call or use a function if GUI layout.button, and we label the button with save item, and we say the expand width is false, so it just stay there at the length of the label. And then we call in when the button is pushed, we call the save item function. So we need to program that, and let's scroll, let's close, and we got here the save item button, and it's really easy. We going for the Darkroot writer is a new Darkroot writer, and we write, and we say item database.item index.id, and the next item in our writer is the item database.item index.title. So we make sure that the item we are indexed in the moment is transferred over the network, and that we do is Darkroot API send message to server, and we got the server tag, the server subject, and the writer. Of course, you could do something like using and get rid of that to make that safe. So for reading our items, I go up here to our static queue shot, and I noticed there is an error, and we did a little work in the last part we don't need. I explained that in when we go to our plugin again. So first of all, I got the error here. The get item is the number 2, and this is number 1. And the send item, we don't need that, so we just change that to get item list. So then it makes that clearer. We have for one the function for get one item, And another function I want to have is the function get the whole database, which is on the server. So since we have, let's go into, to make that absolutely clear, let's go into our DB item. So that's our plugin, and we have the function down here. Let me close that so that we have it clear. So we have here in our server message, we got here an if data subject item save, and in the item save we check already if that item is there or not, and if it's not there, we just generate that. So the special for add item, we don't need that. So what we're going to do is we just get rid of that later on, and we program the reader new for the part where we send the item lists. So that's the reason behind that. We mismatched that here, so we clear that up. Get item data is 2 and get item data list or list data is 1. So let's move down to our button, and in our button we have here the save item, and we got a new button which is load item. We just have to read an item, and we go in here and saying we want to fill it with an int, and that int is the item index we have in the moment. So we need a function read item which expect us to send in an integer. So let's move down there, and somewhere read item here. Here's the private void read item, and as I told, we expect an int, and we're using the dark-rift writer, new writer, and we write down the ID, which we get here, and we send the message to the database with this tag db and the subject get item data, and with the information writer. Also, I have changed the save item. There was a question on using in a private chat I had with one of you fellows, and of course you can just do that this way, and I did it here using basically the same GUI here. In our data on data handler message, we just go and see if the tag is equals to db, and if the subject is get equals to get item data, then we using the dark-rift reader and read the data, and the ID is equal to reader read int, and we fill out the underscore item database dot item with the ID dot title to is equal to the reader dot read string. So we make sure that the right ID gets updated the title with these. Okay, that should be work. Let's go through our changes again, just to make sure we are in our changes and complete. Here we got my second error. So switch the numbers, add the item list data, and then go into your function for showing the buttons and stuff like that. So it should be somewhere here. I'm not sure. There it is, new part 3. And we added the save item and the load item. In the load item, we read the item with the item index. We go down here in the read item, we are using the dark-rift writer and send to the server the ID. The server will be exchanging getting the data out of the database, and will send that. And our onData handler will pick that up and update our local database item. So the last part for this is we have to have an onDestroy. So if we close the window, that means we destroy this, then we're going to darkrift onData minus the onData handler. So we unbind ourselves from this event. And after that, we're going to disconnect. In our DB item plugin, we changed a couple things. For once, we want to have the send item list. So if we got the list information, the lists, the list subject, we want to have that here. For that, we have to change that here, and we say in our config settings item add no db read list, and in our read variable we have to go here and say not db item, we have to, what I called it, db item read list. So db item read list, short mind. So, and of course the output will be the underscore send item list. We changed on top here, there, and then we go into our item add function. It's send item list, where we had the item add before. You can change the log information, so it's not item add, it's now item list, and of course it's send item list, whatever. So, and you just get rid of everything down here until the bracket. So this function is empty. We do that next. And in I had a little, or the second, or the first error I noticed is in our save, we call the function update item. So if we recognize here that we already have an item in our database, we want to update that and we don't want to insert something. So for that, we're coming to our error. So it's the insert item here. I use the insert into table item, which is totally correct. But I used that also in the update function, and that's not correct. In the update function, you have to use the SQL query update table item set item name is equal to the item name query, where the ID is equal to the query ID. So then you have these both here, and that makes sure we just update that and not save that. So somehow I mixed something up, and that of course can't function. So we save that, and we should get no errors. Let's see, build solution. Build solution is success. To make that work, you go, let me first close the server. So it's closed. You go to your Acros item server, plugin source, db item bin debug, and there you get your DLL. Copy that and bring in that to the server, and don't forget to delete this folder, because we changed something in the installation routine. We have to get rid of that. So when you did that, you just go and across DB's item server, start the server. It's up there 4443. Then we go to Unity and click on Yazil item editor. We're going here. At the same time, I bring in these here. Let me get that like so. And if we go and say save item, we get the save item message. And if we do something else, like we change the name is changed. If you go back and forth in the list here, you see the name is changed, and we say load item. The read message is there, and our name is changed. You have to wait a little second until the refresh is coming here, but now we have that change made. So what we did is we sent a message to our server and say, give me the title, or give me the information on our item index we have here, and send that back to me. So what we now have to do is to implement the load item list. So for our get item list data, it's just quite easy. I tell you that often, but it is really we just go here where we have our buttons, we copy that button, and we say load all items, and we going to have a new function here. I have that down here already, and the function is read item list. So we go up there again. Where is the button? This one. And in the read item list, we go down there again, sorry. We just send, or we just take these part, string copy and string file, string v, sorry about that, and we just say hi there or whatever. So we just go ahead and tell the server get item list, and the server will be going into his function and send us the stuff. That's all for the item editor. We have to save that and then change to our DB item. So we change to our plugin. Let me close that again so we are on the same level. On server message, and we deleted all this stuff in here. So basically in our item read we have here we have all we need, and we just don't have an select limit 1 and nowhere, just we select everything. So we just copy these stuff here until the catch, and this one, string copy that, and we go in here and say v. So we're using a darkrift writer. We don't need that because we don't read anything, but we try, and we don't have a query parameter, and we don't have this one. So do we need that? No, we don't need that. So we just, if it's greater than 1, let's make sure we have something. And in our select star from table item, we just get rid of these. So we select everything from the table item, and if the row.length is greater than 1, we're going to do something. And what we're going to do is we say for int e length that is rows dot length. So if we, for example, get 5 back here, 5 different rows, we have it's bigger than 1, and we go from e from 1 to rows length, so it's from 0 to 4, and we get an e++, and let's go here. Get rid of that. And we have a new writer, and we don't write the ID, we write the ID, but we're using int, and then it's the rows, and not 0, it's e, and it is of course the ID. And brackets, I forgot that. So, and of course here we do the same, we say e, and after that we just write that to the item read. So we going in here, block color, I got something wrong here. Something with the brackets, so you just have to check that out. Try, catch, I guess we made one too much, so that's it. So let me explain that again. So we're going to get the subject text sent item list, which is 1, and we jump in here and we select or we try to select out of our database everything from TB item, and we have a new query parameter, which is nothing, just because we don't have anything here. Then we going to see if the rows length is bigger than 1, so did we get something back, and if we did something back, I'll get something back, we going to send or at least build a new writer. So let me quick open that up. So we build a new writer, and it's built out of the row number I, and the first one is the int of the ID, and the next one is in string from the item name, which is title on the Unity side. So, and then just reply that to our connection, and we are done with it. So that's all. Just save that and build the project new. It's okay, so we're going to close our server. Let me close that. Plugin source, DB items, bin, debug. We got the DLL, copy, going into our item, plugin, Redshifts. There it is. Sorry. Didn't saw that. So, and then we start up the server. Server is up. We go into our Unity project and building up. So still we clear that. Unity is not ready. So now it is. So we have our database and we have our new button, and we get to send all message, but something is not right there. We should see more than... Oh no, we shouldn't do that. Okay, we don't get any errors, so that's perfect in the first place. So next is we just close that, and then we go into our database, which is item database. Let me switch Unity here. So in a moment we got 6 items here. We just going and delete that. And see what happens. I think we forgot something, but let's see. And we start that. We go into the item database, and now we may blow up. At first we check, we just have one item in here. So its argument is out of range. That is expected from me. So we have to check something here. Let's move into our client. What is happening? When we get the data here, we just fill that up here and say we going to set the item ID, the ID to the title and stuff like that. So what we don't have is a check if the ID is there. So for that to work, we need to implement between the new ID and the item database where we set that in. We need to generate one of these new items. So we're gonna just if the underscore ID is greater than the item database.item.count -1. You remember the need 0 trick, and then we just say we generate a new item. So we're going to do item is new item equals to new item, and we set the ID of this item to our ID, and then we're going to generate one. So we say underscore item database.item.add new item. So the new item is there, and every time we come here with an ID which is greater than these, we generate one. So that's all, but to make that happen or work, we have to go in our workbench. Let me get that up, it's here. And you have to be sure the first item here in our, just go here on your item, select rows, and you have to have the first item in here to be 0. Or basically you have the 0 and the 1 for the first 2 items, so you don't get an error, because you have to list that also. So if you want to, or if you have something like 1, 2, 3, 4 or something, just change that here and apply that here, and you're done with that. So let's check that out if that works. Save that, and we're going to open Unity. Where's my Unity? There it is. So we got the item, and if we go here, we have the item, we say load all, everything is fine. no errors. We stop that and going to our database. You get an error if you change the database while you have the editor open, so you have to make sure the editor is closed. Delete. So we have our two items here, and we go into the editor and click on load all, and you see the new items are loaded from the database and inserted here in this thing. Of course, we just for this tutorial we just added the title. You have, of course, to add all your stuff in here, so that every item will be, or everything will be saved to the database. We don't want to save these and the object on the icon. We're gonna do that with a name later on, and we don't need that for the security on the server. Also, we forgot here something for the UMA items. So of course we need something like the UMA slot or something where we can get that, or for weapons. For example, we need to have the coordinates where the weapon is plugged on. And yeah, that's for this video. It was quite tough because of a few errors and a few things we have to correct it. But if you liked it, leave a like message as always, and if you liked it even more, hit the subscribe button. If you want to support me, feel free and support any amount, whatever you like, to the Patreon page. I would have been then happy to have that there. And yeah, that's it. Happy night shift. See you guys.